The cost of living crisis, energy prices going up, inflation, gastronomical. What about all the companies that profit from your hardship? Check out this video where I talk about the energy price scandal. Hi everyone, my name is Simon Misiewicz from Optimised Accountants, and in this video I'm going to be talking about, yes indeed, the energy price scandal and fuel prices. That is in particular what you are going to be paying to move your car. Now, here's a pop quiz for you. How much has your petrol price gone up in your area? Please leave a comment box below. It'll be interesting to see how much your fuel prices have gone up indeed in your area. Let's compare and contrast, shall we? But in this video, I want to talk about what is going on with energy prices and in particular fuel. And I want you to think about something here with me. If the prices I'm talking about is related to fuel, what could this mean in terms of gas and electricity? Just keep an open mind of what I'm about to share with you, and could it apply to those as well. Now, in previous videos, I talked about the Office of National Statistics, and the URL there for you. If you want to look at that article, then please feel free to take a look at that. That's for July. Obviously, we're going to be doing a new release. That's out now, I believe, so you can have a look at that. But I have talked in the past about this type of report that talks about inflation. How much is it going up? Well, drastically, as you probably can appreciate by the decreasing amount of money that's in your purse or indeed your wallet. Now, they're talking about inflation and how it's drastically going up. But in my previous video, I talked about, well, where is this inflation coming from? And the big thing that the ONS said was in the July 2022 figure is the highest recorded annual inflation rate in National Statistics series, which began in January 2006, which is a drastic increase. And this is why I want to create this video. I want to really dig underneath that number to understand where inflation is coming from. And if you look at this graph, this just shows you that the electricity, gas and other fuels are the one that's really pushing things up. So yes, you have got things like the household costs, which they talk about. You've also got food increases, which no doubt you've felt that pain in the supermarkets too. But fuel is the one that's really pushing it up. And I wanted to understand, well, why is that legitimate? Is it right that you're paying all this amount of money? Well, the truth is, I looked at trading economics. Again, please look at this URL. Pause this video if you want to look at it yourself. But this is a report that I pulled out from the cost of oil. Now, the oil is pretty much the thing that drives us in terms of fuel that we put in our cars. And it gives us a good barometer. That's all, but it's a good barometer nevertheless. Now that graph looks like it's going down, but when is that graph going down and how much is it gone down by? And I'll tell you now, well, I should say petrol prices, but what I thought should have happened is that petrol prices should have dropped in June 2022, which is when the energy prices, the fuel prices, the oil prices, is the one that's gone down. August prices similar to February 2022. So even though we had that spike, the oil price did drop to the level of February 2022. And I want you just to look at that graph again, and you can see that spike going across, but it's come down back to the February 2022 level. That's really interesting. So prices went down again in June 2022. Please just make a mental note of that, write it down, do whatever you do to remember it. It's really important to understand petrol prices and the cost of oil and so on. So August prices are similar now to February 2022, so they have dropped quite a lot. But let's have a look at this one. This is the RAC, and they created this report saying petrol and diesel prices in the UK, latest fuel price data from the RAC. Now, that's pretty much credible information I'm going to be pulling on from there. So again, if you want to have a look at that website, do have a look at it. But what you'll notice that you can see that drop in prices. There's no doubt about that. There is a drop in prices in terms of fuel and in particular unleaded. Now, what does that mean? I mean, are we okay then? We saw the price of oil drop. we saw the petrol prices drop. But the devil is in the detail, because the prices started to drop in July 2022, not June 2022. So they was getting all the wholesale prices in, and they're converting that and then dropping the prices from July 22. Now, given the situation we're in, could they have dropped that a bit earlier to June 2022? Maybe. The August prices were similar to April, May 2022. And bear in mind that January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September was all going up slightly, okay? And then started dropping down. I said September at the end there. That's a faux pas. What I meant was that from January to July, at least, the price of petrol was going up in the forecast, and then started dropping down again from July, August, September, as we can see now. But the prices have only dropped from April and May to those levels. So they could go further down and should go down further. So what I'm saying to you this is that the petrol prices you're paying carried on going up slightly in July when they was actually paying for less from the actual wholesale suppliers. Indeed, the price that you're now paying is not the level that they should be dropping the prices down to in February numbers. Okay, so that's really important. They're buying it cheaper. They're not passing on the savings to you. Now, is that right? And I want you to think about this. If this is the same kind of situation we're facing with the fuel prices, what about gas? What about electricity? Are we finding a reduction in prices somewhere in wholesale markets, but it's not being passed on to you? And given the cost of living crisis and the escalating inflation, is that right? Drop me a comment in the comments box below. I'll be really happy to read your thoughts, your frustrations, and your, well, like mine, anger at why these prices continue to escalate. I understand there's economics in play here, and I understand what the supply and demand curve. I get all that. But we have got a serious issue here whereby these companies are making money but not and making savings, don't forget, but they're not passing those savings on to us. And am I the only one that's thinking this? Well, here's a couple of things I want you to read. Business Leader, again, the URL is in the top. Please pause the video, get the article yourself. They said, should energy companies be able to profit from the cost of living crisis? Why would they say profit if what I've said is wrong? Okay. What they said is consultancy Cornwall Insights said the typical gas electricity bill in England. Now, bearing in mind, talk about gas and electricity, but I'm still saying the same kind of thing. The fuel versus gas and electricity, it's all fuel related, and that's where I think this is where the problem's coming from. The price of gas electricity in England and Wales, Scotland, could reach 3615 in the new year, which is huge amounts of increases, which is hundreds more than previous predictions. However, the latest energy forecast, the average bill is now expected to reach 4266 in January, which 4266, that's a heck of a lot of money, and the government needs to step in, of course. But what they have said is, Ian Fernandez Johnson, the managing director of independent design house, believes profiteering is wrong when basic living requirements are affected. People have got this stench, this scandal that these big companies are holding back the profits from you. And it gets worse. And I want you to read on from this. BP, okay, fuel, petrol, and Shell return the favour. Now this is money. Again, URL there for you. Their shares have already climbed up, but with record profits, when your purse, your wallet is being decreased, their profits are going higher. Sky high oil prices are major oil stocks and still undervalued. Really? Well, I think they're really overvalued because they're taking money from us, aren't they? This is money said after posting a record first quarter of $9.1 billion. Wow. Shell surpassed the performance with earnings of $11.5 billion in the second quarter. Hold on. Your purse, your wallet, decreasing. Their profits and their shareholders are profiting from you. Is that right? Is that right? Drop your thoughts, your comments, your feelings about this situation in the comments box below, because I'm disgusted, to be quite honest. And again, it looks like the privatization of these types of organizations. I'm not saying the government should take it back. That's not my opinion. That's not what I'm saying right now. But I do fear that your pockets, your wallets are being decreased. The cost of living crisis is on, and these guys are laughing all the way to the banks. This money continued. A week later, BP revealed second quarter profits of 8.5 billion, far exceeding analysts' expectations, 6.8 billion. No surprise, is it? If they are making all these savings and if they're doing all this kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden they're not passing those savings on to you from wholesale prices, well, of course, it's clear they're going to make lots more profits, aren't they? Across the Atlantic, Exxon, Mobil and Chevron also revealed record profits. So Americans still being affected by it as well. This is an article from BBC, supermarkets not passing on lower fuel prices, RAC. Okay. And they said supermarkets are not cutting fuel prices by as much as they should due to match the significant drop in cost of wholesale fuel. There you go, people. This is from the Beeb. Okay, so really, again, credible information. RAC and the BBC talk about these same kind of things. The big issue, great publication. Please do buy that. If you see anyone trying to sell it on the streets, please do buy it. It does help the homeless. So I always make sure I buy 2 or 3. Just to help them out a little bit. URL is there for you. Oil giants Shell and BP have been handed 700 million of taxpayers' cash despite bumper profits. Now get this, they are making the profits. They're increasing fuel prices of running your car, living at home. They're pushing all these prices up, and yeah, they've got their cap in their hands. Jokers. They've got their hands handed out to say, can you give me more? Who are you, Oliver? I mean, the people that should be doing the handouts right now from the government is to the people paying your profits. And that's all. Now, I'm pretty angry about that. And I wonder if you feel the same way as well. The big issue, Shell and BP have received 700 million in government handouts for their oil and gas production since 2016, despite raking in record profits, analysts by the Labour Party shows. Now, again, one thing I wanted to say, I haven't seen these numbers myself, but it'll be interesting to see if you understand that to be true. If it is, it's disgusting. If it's not, then maybe we need to look at the way that, again, the media putting the information out. Yorkshire Post, good old Yorkshire Post. Says here, again, URL in the screenshot, the PM will have to rein in energy firms' profits if squeeze is to be paid by taxes. Now this gets even worse, okay? So the Yorkshire Post, the government is expected to freeze energy bills without the cost of living being passed through future bills, as the government would pay energy bill firms to subsidise bills. Bit of a long-winded sentence there. But the thing that they're saying is they are going to put a cap on energy prices. So what's going to happen is they're going to cap it. There's going to be some sort of agreement whereby they say that, well, we won't pass on this total bill to the people of the United Kingdom. What they will agree with these fuel companies is another thing altogether. Will they continue to do their handouts? It sounds as though that's going to happen. They're going to, these firms, these organizations, these massive companies that have got bulging profits are going to be going to the government and say, well, that's fine, you can cap it, but where about our handouts? You know, we've got shareholders to pay. They've got their Lamborghinis to buy and Bentleys and various other things. These, you know, our top bosses need paying out lots and lots of money, and we need to push all the small people down in where they belong. That's pretty much it, right? So the handouts is going to be passed back from the government to these organizations. Just because they're capping it doesn't mean that these energy companies are not going to get some money somewhere down the line. However, they're going to cap these prices so that you at home don't pay too much money to these big organizations directly. Let me explain. when the light, and the Yorkshire Post stipulate this, the Yorkshire Post, when the likes of Shell, which made almost £10 billion worth of profit between April and June, and BP saw profits triple to almost £7 billion in the second quarter, are dishing out billions to shareholders. Billions to shareholders. Okay. The burden through taxation will not sit well with the families unless energy companies are also reined in. What is happening? Your price is being capped, right? So you are going to have this money whereby the energy companies can't charge you. But what about that slither afterwards? Where about the bit where it says the capping? What's going to happen, people, is that the government are going to still be paying these energy companies, from your tax payments. So the government will be in debt even more because they're going to have to borrow money and they're going to have to tax you more. So the Lamborghinis, the Bugatti Veyrons, the